Gentlemen, welcome to Tell the Story. Who are you, and tell me about some of the things that you guys are doing in the group, and take it from there.
Thanks so much for having us. So I am Brandon Ganesan, and I'm the tabla player, actually tabla and other assorted percussion in Jaffna.
And I'm Joe Tayoun, and I'm a member of Jaffna, and I play darbuka, or Egyptian tabla, and various other percussion in Jaffna as well.
How did you guys get together? Now, how many members are there in the group?
There are 4 members at the moment. So
and how did you guys get together?
I was a Middle East restaurant. I think that was kind of the magnet, the anchor
Did
point.
you say a Middle Eastern restaurant or the Middle Eastern restaurant? Because I only know of one the Middle Eastern restaurant in Philadelphia.
In Philly, there is the Middle East restaurant.
So the Middle East restaurant, actually that was started by my grandparents, and it transformed and moved to Old City, and we were there for 40 years, and we became a music venue. We had Middle Eastern food, belly dancing, live music, 7 nights a week. There was a comedy club in there. It was a wonderful place. A lot of things happened. So, yeah.
Well, my most important question for you is, what night is the belly dancing? Because I want to come down.
Mr. Brown, I'm sorry you're a little late. We sold it in 1997.
Wow! After
a 40-year run, my brother Mike and I ran it for the 10 years. At the end, and we had done a lot of changes to it. Became a very well-known music venue that did all kinds of music.
How was your family able to maintain a venue for 40 years? And of course, with you guys involved too.
Yeah, that's quite a trick. It's not easy to do. We're a family-run organization, and we utilized family. When my brother and I took it over, we actually quit our respective jobs and moved back home in Mom's house so we didn't have to draw a salary. And so we could get that thing going again. We took it over in the middle of a recession in 1990 when my uncle and my dad wanted to sell it. And we told them, no, we're going to change it up and do something different. And lo and behold, we accomplished what we set out to do.
The name Jaffna, where did that actually come from? And I'm feeling some kind of meaning behind it.
It's my hometown. So I was born in Sri Lanka, and in the town of Jaffna. That's where the name comes from. And it was essentially because we met each other and we had a gig before we had a band. So we kind of did 2 things. We figured out who was going to play, and then we said, who are we? Like, how do we name ourselves? And I happened to be doing the write-up, and in that, so where I lived at the time, we had these 3 computers that were linked together, and each one was a different city in Sri Lanka, and the one in front of me was Jaffna. So I said, let's go with that, because it sounds, somewhat exotic, and so we started with that and stuck with it. So. Now,
I know you took an airplane, but how did you get from there to here?
Yeah,
the reason I ask you that way is because I remember I asked a musician, how'd you get here? He said, airplane.
By plane. So we did get here by plane. So the short version is that, so when I was 15, so I'm Tamil, and by religion I was born Hindu. So we were minorities in Sri Lanka, and the majority were Buddhists, and they were Sinhalese. So 15 years old, there was an ethnic pogrom, and a bunch of people stormed our house, and they attacked it, and they burnt it down with us in it. We hid as a family and sort of scrambled. We were one of the lucky ones because we had some contacts here. My father's spiritual teacher was here in the U.S., so that's how we arrived. We arrived as refugees, literally with, me with my shirt on my back. I had a wallet that my mother gave me for my birthday. It was made of elephant leather, and the jeans and the shirt I had on. That's how I showed up.
Wow.
By plane.
And you said you're a Hindu. So when I say Jai Shri Krishna, you know exactly what I'm referring to. Okay. Now, Joe, your family was already here. You mentioned your grandfather and how he started the establishment and everything. How did you get involved in music?
Well, my father, first of all, was very musical. He played an instrument called the oud, which is the Arabian lute, if you will. It's an ancient instrument. But he was very musically inclined. But at our restaurant growing up, when it was as the Middle East restaurant, we had music 7 nights a week with a live band, at least 3, 4, maybe 5 musicians, 7 nights a week with belly dancing. In the beginning, most people hadn't really heard of that kind of thing, belly dancing or even the music. As a matter of fact, they were selling hummus and falafel before anybody knew what it was. I mean, it was a new thing, exotic. So, but there was 7 nights a week music, and whenever we would be there, my dad would take us to work with him when we were little, and I always gravitated towards the music. And not to mention my oldest brother started playing drums, my oldest brother Eddie, and then my second oldest brother Michael, when Eddie no longer could play, he was very musical too. I guess we get it from our dad. He took over playing drums with all the old Middle Eastern guys. And that was my dream, because I would be bussing tables and watching them, watch my brothers playing, and they got really good. They got to be good players. But then it was my turn, and I took over, and I guess I took it to a different level than they did. But
that you did.
It was also, like when we would work with Dad would come out of the kitchen with his apron and have to play the oud for a dancer. And one time, the drummer wasn't there, and he grabbed me and said, "Son, come here, take this, and follow me." I'm like, "Yeah, Dad, what?" And he sat me down, and he said, "Play." So I learned on the job, and I think it's a very charmed way to learn. It was something we did. It was not like it was a big deal. It's just something we did.
Tell me more about the group, what the plans are, the visions that you have for the group, where you guys are going, and some of the things that you've done in the past.
Mm-hmm. So I think the origin, how we started, is probably very much a part of where we want to go. And I think the reason why we were all attracted to each other is because we each sort of were when we joined or when we met each other, had all been playing for a while, so we didn't start as a group. And like for me personally, I sort of grew up playing classical music. I started on mridangam, so playing South Indian classical, and I moved to playing Hindustani classical. So think sitar, tabla, right, Ravi Shankar, that kind of stuff. And it was, you know, in one sense it was amazing, but also limiting in the sense that it was about getting proficiency, but I didn't feel like there was an openness, sort of an ability to express past a certain amount. So I veered this way and that. We landed here in the States. There wasn't much of a market for it. So played some rock, played some funk, and that was fun. But I couldn't really use, my fingers. And we had to sort of play. I was playing congas for a little bit, and it didn't just really sort of express. I went back to my roots, which is playing hand drums that use my fingers, and whatever I played on tabla, I then transposed to other things, right? So I can play anything using the tabla techniques. I can pick up a talking drum or play a cajon, and then Joey taught me everything I know about playing doumbek. So that was where I was I was experimenting with different instruments, and in fact, I didn't realize it at the time. So I was in this residency with one of my mentors and heroes, Ustad Zakir Hussain.
Mine too.
And my friend Joey here was in the audience. We didn't know that till years later, but that was how we first saw each other. And then this thing he said about his brothers. So the story there is that one of my friends. So I met some folks that were playing sort of hand percussion, And he said to me, he goes, there are some people here that are decent. There's this guy. You got to meet this guy. He's really good. We got to go see him. I'm like, okay, fine, let's go see him. So this is Lebanese festival. Let's go there. He'll probably play. I'm like, okay, we go to the Lebanese festival, and there's a bunch of folks show up, and they say something about a tayyun. And this group comes up. There's a guy, he's on Dubeg. He starts playing. I'm like, he's okay. So I say to Danny Malaman, I'm like, hey, he's okay. He goes, no, not this one. The other one. Not him, his brother. I'm like, all right. And then it was, a couple of months later, we ended up at this, open mic night, the Monday nights that Joey and Mike had started. So I had, in fact, seen Mike tayyun up on stage, not Joey. And I went in to Monday night. That's where I saw him for the first time. And this thing about sort of trying to find people, and I think what we're trying to do here, back to the question that you asked, I felt like I wanted to play music that allowed me to sort of express my feelings and my upbringing, but not in a classical tradition, but with other people that had similar, and maybe it's, I don't mean this in a bragging kind of way, but it's a virtuosity, right? And that's what I found. So in Joey, in Roger, and then in Raji, our guitarist, the people that were committed to playing their instruments to the best of their ability, and not just and them also having sort of deep roots in one tradition, but not feeling locked in it. So he can sit down, right, and I've seen him, and it's amazing to watch him sit and play with, Armenians and Lebanese folks and Egyptians, and he'll play the traditional stuff, but then, he can switch around and he can play, you hear something and you construct, and that's what we wanted to do. And for us, this is another thing, is we feel this is American music. And people say, you play world music, you have an oud, the guitar, tabla, why do you call this American music? And we call it American music because the four of us would never have met if I was in Sri Lanka. I would have never met these. I would have been in my little, playing my classical music and playing for, classical dancers maybe. I would never had an opportunity to meet people like this. And I think only here, where you have sort of this melting pot thing, would I see opportunities like that. So in that sense, I think, it is very much, we call it curiously familiar ethnic music. If you hear the stuff we play, it's based on sort of folk traditions from a lot of different places.
And I understand what you're saying when you say American music, because when you think about jazz, it is comfortable enough with itself to encompass all forms of expressions.
You've been listening to Tell the Story, but stay tuned because there's so much more to come. That's coming up next.